The federal government and AFN have been developing proposals for a new fiscal relationship for First Nations. They've been working at this for a few years now. They've been traveling around the country, engaging with a lot of different First Nations and groups. And this is good. Getting the conversation going is important. But it's also important to understand that 30 years have passed since we reflected on our fiscal relationship and came together to create First Nations property tax. 30 years. We learned a lot, we have gained valuable knowledge, and we have important things to say. And there's no important time than now to express what we want as nations. Firstly, the most important thing for us is getting more fiscal power. Having every service subject to transfer-related conditions isn't going to do that. 10-year grants aren't going to do that. In fact, just assuming that fiscal relationship is solely a transfer isn't going to do that. We want to collect more of our revenues, fiscal power. We don't want a fiscal relationship that holds us, our community, and our economy hostage. The only way to get fiscal power is to collect more of our own revenues and to use those revenues to replace transfers for some services. That's different than having some general transfer offset. The difference is that as we contribute more, our autonomy increases and other government influence decline. That sounds awfully reasonable to me. The new approach that's being offered doesn't accomplish that outcome, and enabling our fiscal power doesn't appear to be a priority in the future either. In fact, right now, if you go into Treaty or self-government, you must give up your First Nation Fiscal Management Act powers so that they can be assumed by provincial governments. Nuh-uh, not happening, not under our watch. I don't think I'm alone in saying that we don't share this vision. The FMA has proven to work for First Nations. It's actually accomplished what we want. It's given us the ability to generate revenues that were determined by our economy, not somebody else's budget. It gave us the opportunity to set our own priorities and pursue the opportunities that we envisioned. Come to think of it, of course, there's one thing that governments seem to want, change, and remove. And they want us to accept that other governments will be involved in all priority settings. Since everything except FMA local services is partly funded by transfer, everything needs to be subject to their conditions and oversight. There's nothing to say except no. We don't accept this. Our communities won't accept this. We need more fiscal power, not less. And we should send a message today about just how to do that. Firstly, we need to expand the FMA and FNLMA. We need to ensure that First Nations under treaty and self-government still have access to its benefits. We must make new tax powers available for inclusion in the local revenue accounts. For example, gas taxes collected in reserves, tobacco taxes, cannabis taxes, carbon tax revenue sharing, FNGST, and lastly, but not least, the Aboriginal Resource Tax. The Aboriginal Resource Tax would apply our own tax to every major resource project taking place on our traditional territories. This would be a precondition. If you want to do your project, then you pay the tax. It's our jurisdiction. Same rules as we have now. No caps, no offsets, and no clawbacks. And instead of offsets, we should put a new responsibility into the local revenue account: infrastructure. We need to take full charge of our infrastructure. This includes a new institution, the First Nations Infrastructure Institute. It would help you plan, finance, and build infrastructure, and also how to operate, maintain, and ultimately replace infrastructure. So what can we do? How do we support this fiscal relationship approach? What can we do individually to contribute to these changes for our people? Well, let's continue to be strong proponents of change and lead the way to our future. We need the support of the trailblazing nations represented in this room. All of us. If we wanted, we could go at it alone. But to go farther, we must come together. Join the conversation. Let us know what you think. Share your opinions, ask questions, and support the proposals as presented over the past 2 days. Together, let's write the next chapter of our collective story. Let's continue to build powerful foundations for the success and the future of our nations.